What's cracking, Jump Nation family? It's your boy here, Rushi S, aka the Jump Rope Coach. Yes guys, so if you found yourself watching this video, then I already know that you're into skipping, jump roping, and you have hopefully got your hands on the hottest speed rope on the planet. This is the Rush Athletic Speed Rope, aka the Money Rope. And in today's video guys, I wanted to basically address a question that I've been getting on a number of kind of platforms on YouTube, on Instagram, and a lot of people are asking me what is the length of my jump rope and how they should be sizing theirs. So we're gonna get straight into that after this intro. Peace. Welcome back guys. If you haven't already, please make sure you do subscribe to this channel if you're new to this channel anyway. We are building one of the most slickest, hottest jump rope communities in the world, and we're taking cardio by storm. Right guys, let's get straight into this. So I've got my hands on the iconic yellow Money Rope. This is our most infamous Money Rope colorway. And if you're new to the channel, then make sure you go down and cop this. Website, everything, details below. What you want to do guys is as soon as you get it out of the packaging, make sure you please do read these instructions. And what most beginners are going to want to do is obviously start skipping straight away. And the issue is guys, is that if your jump rope is not the right length, if it's too long, if it's too short, you're just not going to get the benefits that you want. You're going to trip on the moves that you're trying to do. You might not even be able to execute them at all. And just think of it this way, this is the analogy that I've come up with, is that your skipping rope is exactly like if you imagine like a Formula 1 car or a racing car. These cars are fine-tuned to make sure that you can do certain things around the track, whether it's kind of like going around corners, whether it's like straight line speed. The way you measure your rope and where you kind of size it up will allow you to do different types of moves, different types of combinations. So right, first things first, most people, most of the internet will show you that the best way to size your skipping rope is to step in the middle, hold it up against you, and that the handles should come to kind of roughly the armpit level, right? So the thing is now, if you've got a long handled jump rope, this is going to get a little bit confusing. Short handle jump rope, for example, is going to get a little bit confusing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to suggest an alternate method. It's going to help you actually skip better and actually get started the right way. So what I want you to do is I'm going to want you to get the rope in your kind of index finger here. So you're going to put your index finger through the rope here. You're going to clasp it with one hand. And what I want you to do is get started with the right technique. So rather than your hands coming out here, I want you to put them close by your side. And all you're going to do is you're going to rotate the rope nice and gently beside you, and the rope's going to basically be going anti-clockwise this way, and you just want it to kind of clip the ground. As you come out, if your technique is a little bit off, or your hands, if you come up here, if your hands are a little bit out here, you'll see that the rope doesn't clip the ground. Similarly, if your rope is too long, you're going to get a really long drag along the floor, which is what we don't want. So what I want you to do is I want you to do this drill, and I want you to make sure that the rope is slightly clipping the floor, very lightly, so you get a nice clip on the floor. So already this rope is a little bit long for me. So what I usually do, I'm 6'1". I use the 10-foot Money Rope, 10-foot speed rope. We also have it in 11-foot. And for those of you who are above, I would say 6'3", I would consider the 11-foot rope. Otherwise, everyone below 6'3" or so should be getting the 10-foot rope. So then what do? I put 2 knots in the rope, because 2 knots for me is the fine tuning that I know that will usually help me get kind of what I need to get out of the skipping rope. But because I'm 6'1", 2 knots works for me. And now you'll see when I do this drill again, the clip now is very kind of light. I get a really nice response off the floor. It's quick, short, sharp. And I want you guys to just keep practicing this drill. If you find again the rope's not clipping the floor, chances are your rope's too short. Chances are your technique's out here. So I want you to bring that elbow in, and I want you to then just practice pushing that forearm across, rotating that wrist, and getting a really nice crisp kind of clip off the floor. That's a really good drill, guys. It's going to get you from beginner to intermediate really quickly. A lot of people who kind of think about doing this kind of method, this is all based on height, and I understand that. But one of the myths that I want to show you is that it's not always about height when it comes to skipping. If you look at the likes of Floyd Mayweather or Brian Valoria, they use typically very long ropes, very high arcs, and they're one of the best, or they are the best skippers in my opinion in the game. So it just shows you that it's not always about height. You could be short, you could be very tall. This method is good for beginners as a kind of starter, but we're going to try and get you to that advanced level. So I want you to use this technique, get that little clip, and then that way it's going to allow you to also make sure that you're skipping with the correct form, which is always wrists come forward, elbows go back. So then every transition is super smooth, and the clip on the floor is really short and sharp. I don't want the rope dragging along, sorry. That's going to stop you from executing kind of different type of combinations. Typically as well, if the rope is not clipping the floor, you're likely to trip as well, because you're going to have to jump a little bit higher. The last thing I want to bring up basically, guys, is the style and goal that you're trying to achieve. So you need to think about this when you're sizing your rope. So what do I mean by style and goal? So if you're a CrossFitter, for example, I would recommend that you use a shorter rope. And CrossFitters are generally trying to do as many double unders within a certain period of time. So underneath a minute, or how many double unders you can do in a minute. So there's no point in having a very long rope, because you're just working harder to get that double under. So I would shorten the rope again if you are looking for a personal best or looking for a record of double unders. So I've shortened the rope now, I've got 3 knots. So when it comes to double unders now, you can hear no clips, very little clip on the floor, and I'm getting that rope around very quickly. The second style I like to mention is obviously the Mayweather style, or kind of what I like to think is my sort of style, which is very fluid kind of transitions, combinations, bit of freestyle, speed. So you then need to really think about your technique there. So I like to have a kind of longer arc. Typically I don't really shorten the rope too much. It just allows me to get that feel to do side swings, to do round the backs, to then do 360s. So you then have to fine tune your rope. Like I said, it's like a car. You're fine tuning your rope to make sure you can do different moves. Things like squat jumps. When you want to do squat jumps, the rope will need to be a lot less shorter, because typically you're coming down here as you're doing the squat, then as you're doing the side swing, you don't want the rope to be too long, because then you're going to be dragging the rope along the floor. It's going to slow it down, and then you can't generate the speed that you like. So I then would normally do 3 knots in my rope, and yeah, that's pretty much how I would think about what I need to think about when I'm trying to size my rope. So one great thing about having a speed rope like this is the fact that you can actually just add knots to fine tune the length really quickly. You can add it in, you can take it out, and I wouldn't really recommend on actually sizing it from the actual sizing mechanism. The knots for you as a beginner, and even as advanced, I always use knots. It just allows you to have a little bit of weight on the end of the handles to really allow you to understand where the rope is in the revolution, to kind of go between different kind of moves, transitions. The knot is super powerful, guys, and I'm going to be definitely making a few more videos about it. But be sure to use this, and I wouldn't cut the rope, especially if you're kind of short as well. If you're a lady, or if you're a kind of young kid watching this right now, only cut the rope if these get in the way or they get really annoying for you. But to be honest with you, make sure you put the knots in a little bit kind of distance away from the handle, and they will be really helpful. Like I swear by them. I always use knots, and yeah, it really does make a difference. Right guys, I hope that provided some value for you and it proved useful. If it did, please give me a big thumbs up. That will really allow me to understand if I'm making the right content for you out there. And also hit that subscribe button and follow this journey. Like I already said, we're making one of the most slickest communities out there. And yeah, I'm just proud to see my community just jump like bosses right now, and I want you guys to join in as well. Don't forget to also get hold of the hottest speed rope on the planet. All the details down below. There's also a discount down below, YouTube 10. Make sure you use that to get money off your purchase. Be sure to leave a comment down below if there's any other tutorial or any other question that you have. I love to just understand where your problems are, and hopefully I can provide the right answers. So listen, without further ado, I'm going to see you in the next video. So take care of yourself, skip the treadmill, stay safe. Peace.